Alright, so as many Bleach fans have already expected from Core 3, a title drop that was released basically showed that there's going to be a lot of additional content coming to Core 3. And one thing that I've seen some people ask for is more background information on the Schutzstaffel, which is Yuha's Royal Guard. Now, as like the final side antagonist of Bleach, they came in at a point where the story was rushed. So obviously they had their fight moments to shine, but they didn't really get much else from that. They were still solid antagonists, in my opinion. Each one had their own threatening presence, and I have to say, Pernita was a little bit creepy to me when I first read it. I mean, dude's just a giant fucking hand. But one thing that people have asked for is, well, as I already said, background information. I think the only Sternritter, to my knowledge, that we got proper background information on was Jugrim, Basby, and Asna, and they came really well as antagonists. That background really did help develop them a little bit. And one thing that I noticed, at least, is that if you read the big three carefully, Oda, Kishimoto, and Kubo are all very good at subtle character writing, which means that personalities and traits are often carried over due to backstory. And I think that if we analyze the way one of the Schutzstaffel members acted, we can actually figure out his backstory. I'm, of course, talking about Lille Barro. Now, first, I wanted to just briefly take a look before I delve into the character moments and his monologues that make me think my theory is correct. I want to take a look at the guns. Now, one thing you'll notice is that there aren't really many Quincy that use guns in Bleach. There's only 4 to my knowledge, apart from the random girl from the flashback, but she doesn't really matter if we're being all that honest. And that being is Gremmy, Robert, BG9, and of course, Lille Barro. Now, the difference between them and Lille Barro is, of the two that use military-grade weaponry, BG9 and Gremmy didn't use them in any type of, effective way. Gremmy kind of summoned them for 2 panels, and then they were gone, and BG9 had his minigun ripped off pretty much immediately. Neither one showed any skill using their gun. The only one of the 3, apart from Lille, that did was Robert, and he has a pistol. That's not really comparable to the sniper that Lille has. So Lille is the only one that has military-like weapons that uses them with any type of skill. That's the one thing that I noticed. The next thing that I noticed is the way that he talks. I was rewatching Core 2, just because, I like to rewatch Core 2, and I noticed that in episode 11, Lille Barro says, in this scene, he's speaking like he's lived it more than just knows about it. He's talking like he knows the feeling of being wrong and then paying the price like that. I did dismiss that scene at first, to be entirely honest, on my first watch through, but on my second walk through, it kind of stuck with me. Then I started going back to read the manga, and I noticed a couple more monologues similar to that. When he's sniping away at the oncoming Soul Reapers that were trying to get to the Royal Palace, he says, "Scary, isn't it? Well, of course it is. I can tell. The feeling of not being able to tell where the enemy is coming from, but watching as their comrades are shot down from afar, one by one, would be afraid." Now, after Shinsui rushes Lille Barro and he gets shot, Lille Barro says again, "You could have a flawless formation, but all it takes is one fool to break it. I've seen too many of those already. I thought you Shinigami would be differently." In these two scenes, at least to me personally, it feels like Lille is talking from experience, not knowledge. Like he knows the fear of being shot at from nowhere and being the person who shoots from nowhere. See, these kind of connect. So what I think happened, this is obviously a bit of a reach, it's only a theory at the end of the day, but I think that Lille Barro's backstory goes as follows. At some point, I think Lille went to war, he killed a lot of people, and eventually he was with a squad, kind of like Shinsui was. Eventually, a member of his squad broke formation and led to the others getting shot, with Lille being mortally injured. But he was bleeding out and not completely dead yet. I think that while he was bleeding out, Yuha would have come to him, similarly to how Yuha came to Asnot when he was dying on the hospital bed, and then when Yuha offered him power, I think Lille took it, similar to Asnot. Really, yeah, that's all I've got to support this theory. It's not much, but I think it does work, especially for Lille's character and the way he's acted up to this point. Maybe you believe me, maybe you don't. I don't really care at the end of the day. It's just a fun little theory I thought of. But, shit. But there we go. Looks like I'm out of time for today, so I will see you all at a later date.